According to a recent study, it was found that the average American driver spends between $2,000 and $4,000 per year on gasoline. Wow, that's a lot of money. There's a huge variable there. That variable is based on your daily commute, and more importantly, gas prices. As we learned, gas prices do fluctuate according to where you live. They can fluctuate across the block. So I am here to tell you about the newest member of the Chevy family. Let me introduce myself. My name is Brendan Weiss. I am the Vice President of the Chevrolet Sales and Services Department, and I'm very excited to introduce to you the Chevy Spark. As you can see, the Chevy Spark actually started in 1997. It was under the code name, that's what I guys call it, M100. And what happened was, when it was first coming out, this was back in the late 90s, so as a result, batteries for electric cars were not only very large, but they were also very expensive. So what ended up happening was there were multiple revisions. In 1999, the M150 came out. Actually, I don't want to say it came out. There were multiple test runs on it, but again, the concern was just the price point for public, so as a result, it was held back. In 2011, there was a very large rebranding process in our R&D department, and they ended up rebranding the Chevy Spark. In 2013, it came out to the public, and I'm going to touch upon it later. Car and Driver in February 2014 did an extensive report on electric vehicles, and I was so proud of these results. I can't wait to show them to you guys. And as of right now, there are 6 major electric cars on the market. I'm going to kind of talk about them and give you an idea of price-wise what you're looking at. There's a pretty big jump, but I'll explain that to you later. Let's just start the key points here. Price point. The average baseline for an electric car right now is going to be about $20,000. The Chevy Spark clocks in about $32,000. I know it's a lot of money, y'all are college students, but right now the US government has an incentive program. If you buy an electric car, you're looking at about a $7,500 rebate on that. Another good thing is most states, I know Texas has ran it before, they actually will, I don't want to say double, but they give you a further economic incentive on there. Another key is electricity is not expensive as gasoline. As I pointed out in my original statement, gas prices can fluctuate and fluctuate quite wildly. It was about a year ago, a study found that gasoline was averaging about $3.42 per gallon. Electricity was at about 11 cents per kilowatt hour. You're looking at almost a $3 difference on there. And also, electric cars have zero emissions. It was about a year ago, there were 2 students at Harvard that did a test where they had combustion vehicles, combustion, that's gas-fueled cars. They stacked them up to hybrids, which use batteries and a small amount of gasoline, and complete electric cars. And during this test, they found that the electric cars not only had zero emissions, but they had contributed to a 42% decrease in total emissions during that test run. Big graph here, a lot of information, electric versus gasoline. Key points here. Right now, electric cars are going through kind of a remodel process. Batteries are shrinking down, and we found that the Spark is about 100 miles per recharge. If you have a lot of money, I would suggest going after the Tesla. That's about 300 miles per charge, but you're looking at 60,000 for the base model to it. But one good part to electric cars is you're only paying 2 cents per mile as opposed to at least 12 cents per gasoline. This was taken in 2015 and has actually fluctuated a lot since then. So again, I really wouldn't live too much on that number. That number can go down depending on how much oil OPEC releases. They are a main driving force to the nation's gasoline sources. And also, one of the big advantages, if you have a regular combustion vehicle, is you can gas up in a few minutes, as opposed to an electric car. Studies have found that most electric cars, you're looking at about 7 hours per charge. Some will give you 12 per charge. Again, that's really just a matter of the current batteries that are out in public, and as technology refines itself. I know Chevy's trying to get to about 5 to 6 hours per charge. Tesla is currently sitting at about 12 on their most recent vehicle. So here's a really eye-opening chart. I'm not going to nitpick completely, but I know you guys do love your Hummers. But guess what? Your Hummer is going to cost about $17.50 to go 50 miles on a bad boy, as opposed to a pure electric car, which is only going to cost you $0. As you can see, the big number here that I really want to highlight is, if you look here, look at your average annual cost for a 10-mile-gallon car. $6,400. Of course, that's unrealistic, but let's say we're parking at about 30 miles per gallon. You're talking about just over $2,100, as opposed to an all-electric vehicle, $216. Save yourself a lot of money. Of course, you're going to run into a pretty big initial cost, but we'll touch on that in a few minutes. And again, there are some very big variables in here. Again, cost of gas can fluctuate quite randomly, same with price of oil. But what we found for energy is typically electricity is about 11 to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Again, summer times, depending on where you live, the grid could be raised or lowered, but you're always going to run into certain kind of variables like that. Here's a really interesting thing. This is a 50-year snapshot. There are some scientists that actually went out and they took a baseline vehicle. What they did was they found the vehicle has, basically, the user is going 12,000 miles driven per year on a 20 mile per gallon car, and they took an average of gas, and they found it was about $3.50 where that person was working. Here's a pretty amazing number. In that 50 years, that person spent $275,000 on gasoline. Again, this is an estimate, but this is just what they found. And over here, if they were to go to a solar electric car, same kind of situation, 12,000 miles, 4 miles per kilowatt hour. The difference is here, if you're going to go with an electric car, you're going to get hit with a significant upfront cost. A, buying a vehicle, and for this situation, they actually put a grid in their house. If you go to Lowe's, you can actually buy a grid for about $1,000, at least for charging your car, and there are government incentives. I've also seen people get full panels put on their house. It's quite steep, but again, there's government incentives on there. But here's the big number. $12,000. 50 years, $12,000. Think of all the amazing vacations you could go on, the life you could have. $275,000, $12,000. Great food for thought there. Like I said, 6 major competitors, and what happened was in February 2014, a car and driver pulled a model of each of these, took them out to a racetrack, and did a very comprehensive test on them. And like I said, I'm so excited, our baby was first. Chevy Spark was number 1. The only big drawback, and we are addressing this, is it took about 12 hours for the Spark to reach its full charge after it was being used. Disclaimer, most electric cars will give you about 30 to 40 miles per charge, depending on, actually, per round trip charge. So right here, a lot of information, a lot to kind of ingest, but again, key point, if you notice, that the Chevy Spark, 181 out of 225 points. One that was not here because it's still kind of in develop is the Tesla S Series. There's a lot of excitement in the motor vehicle world about that. It's going to be about $60,000 up front for it, but if the battery pans out and the patents pan out, it could be looking at about 300 miles. So you're roughly looking at what you're going to be paying in terms of distance for a normal car, but again, you're going to be running into the issue of charging. So the big deal here, we've already talked about a major advantage is going to be your lower fuel costs. Again, gas prices can fluctuate, and more importantly, electricity is about 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Another key point is moving parts. If you have a combustible engine car, you know your motor is going to have a lot of different things that could break down, and as those break down, your costs will escalate and eventually get to a point where you know your car depreciates in value, but guess what? Your prices don't depreciate. And one great thing about an electric car is it's just the battery that operates it. Now again, there is a chance your battery can die, but those can be replaced. Prices are going down for those. And one other key advantage that a lot of the test drivers found was that when they're using electric cars, it's a quite quieter turn ride. A lot of it's because they're not dealing with the combustion engine and all the noise associated with that. So, like I've said, electric cars are the future. The Chevy Spark, and this has been validated by Car and Driver, is the best on the market. Now, I've been good. I told you way back in the beginning that I am involved with Chevy sales and services, so excuse me for breaking out my used car salesman gimmick. If you go ahead and right on the outside of there, I have my business card, there's a little number on the back, call that number and the local Chevy store will give you a Chevy Spark right now for that baseline price of $20,000. That is special, it's only be for the next 48 hours. Once again, my name is Brendan Weiss, and I'm part of the Chevrolet Sales and Services Department. Is there any questions you guys have?